Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Daily Live. Sean Dyche has just done his pre-match press conference ahead of Everton's trip to Bramall Lane.
It's very much a pre-match, post-match, wasn't it?
Pre-match, post-match, which anything. Pre-match, post-match.
Post-match.
Lower expectations.
Non-committal.
All of the things you'd expect. Everton game at Sheffield United in less than 48 hours, of course. But there's still work to be done in the transfer window, Jack. And one of that will be whether or not Alex Iwobi leaves Everton Football Club. He has got 10 months left on his Everton contract. 20 million's being quoted. I'm not sure whether it'll be that much. It may well be. Where are we with this? Because obviously he's a lad that he's injured at the moment, but he plays in our team when he's fit. He creates most of our chances, but clearly wants to leave the football club.
Not signing a new deal.
So what do we do with it? And if we let him go, how imperative is it that we find a replacement in the 30-odd hours that remain?
I think if Alex Iwobi wasn't leaving Everton, this move would have been shut down by now. Club, no, he's not for sale. Sean Dyche would have come out in his press conference then. He confirmed interest in Iwobi in his press conference then. Obviously, we all knew anyway. But if the club don't want him leaving, they're putting out different types of noise.
Yeah, of course they are, yeah.
In terms of replacing him, look, for all our chance creation statistics, most creative player statistics over the last year, Alex Iwobi's top. Some people will disagree with those statistics and they don't think they see that on the pitch, but the data shows that he is important to the side. So you're looking at him thinking you do need some player to come in and replace him. It doesn't have to be like for like, but you want to replace his influence in the team. That can be with a more direct winger to take up that spot, and then you change your midfield makeup to accommodate that. But if Alex Iwobi was to leave, I don't think Everton could afford to bring no one in. It doesn't have to be like for like, but someone has to come through the door.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
I'd seen some stats about Alex Iwobi just before we came on. I'll just try and...
Yeah, go on, you find it. Nick Gray says the crack of dawn here on Vancouver Island. But looking forward to the chat. Good morning, Nick. Hope you are well. Listening to a lot of people saying smash the like button, stroke the like button, kiss the like button, tap the like button. Do all of those to the like button. Thank you very much. Pau Show Kajun says, from Mark, says, morning, guys. Good morning. George says, I think selling Iwobi is good business. Use it to bring a creative player in them.
Just got these stats here. So this is just on his the 22-23 season, the last year.
Yeah.
So he's played 98.6% of the minutes available. So he's been ever present. For assists in Everton, he's first. Expected assists first. Key passes first. Passes into final third first. Passes into penalty box first. Progressive passes first. Progressive carries second. Attempted dribbles first. The data suggests that Alex Iwobi is important to this squad. People disagree with that, don't they? They don't see it with their eyes. He doesn't pass the eye test for a lot of people. But the data shows that Alex Iwobi does important things in this team, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? It's a tough one. But if the lad wants to go and won't stay, what do you do? At some stage, it has to become... the manager kind of alluded to it then. It has to become a business decision more so than, he creates all these chances or whatever. It's got to be a business decision. That business tells you that with 10 months left on a contract, he's not going to sign a new one. And there's at least, let's say, there's at least 15 million on the table. It could be 20, could be add-ons, whatever. But let's just say that money, we're not in any position to leave that money on the table. Now, I've had the discussion that, well, if Everton let him go and got relegated because no one created any chances, it cost them a hell of a lot more than 15 million quid. I get that. But what if Everton took the 15 million pound and bought someone else and they scored 8 goals or 6, 7 goals that Alex Iwobi doesn't score, and we stay up anyway comfortably, and arguably we're better, because players move on from teams. You look at some teams go, they're losing the best player. It's about what you do. Brighton don't fear losing good players. They just go, right, we're replacing them with him. The key here for Everton is knowing who that creator is.
Yeah, and like you say, the other side of this is, people can debate all day about whether they rate Alex Iwobi or not. One thing is that in a year's time, he might not be an Everton player anyway.
Yeah.
If he's leaving in a year's time, regardless, if you can get 15 to 20 million for a player, he won't be here in a year.
Yeah.
And, for as important as he appears to be in this Everton team, with our new signings, we've signed wingers, we've signed forwards, is he a guaranteed starter anymore, even if he does stay? You'd expect him to play, but is he, first name on the team sheet week in, week out? I don't know if he is.
It's weird, isn't it? Because where does he play? Like, I personally, if he was ever going to get in my team, it'd be in one of the 3 midfield positions. Either as an 8 or a number 10, say. Because I don't think he's good enough wide for me. He doesn't do what I want a winger to do, which is get in behind, which is score goals. He doesn't do either of them. He puts balls into a box, of course he does, but anyone can put crosses in, can't he? I'm not being disrespectful to him, I'm just saying anyone can cross balls, and you need to have that extra, especially in this team. I'd have him in over Decore. The flip to that, and people might throw it back at me, is Decore does get some goals. Doesn't create anything, but he does get goals. So that's where the challenge is. But Everton, I looked at Everton, say, last night against the team that's bottom of the Football League with those 3 midfield players, Decore, Onana, and it was James Garner last night. And he was shocking, the 3 of them. Like, Onana, I think, was the one that was trying to do and affect the game, and he was putting tackles in.
You could see through his body language, he was trying to do something.
Decore was poor, James Garner was poor in midfield. He was very good at right back, he was poor in midfield. But Everton were crying out for someone to put the foot on the ball in there and open things up. And I felt a bit sorry for Chimity, and I felt sorry for Dobbin, because they were just smashing balls up to them and going, we'll do something with that. Got to be better than that. So if Iwobi was in there, we'd obviously try to play through that. So if he's going to go, then that will be an area you're looking at. But Everton are also desperate for a right winger as well. And again, the manager in the press conference mentioned Tom Cannon. So that'd be for money, because I can't see him. I mean, he might well go on loan, but I think there is teams that are willing to buy him. And obviously Damari Gray as well. If Damari Gray goes to Saudi, that'll get done within the next week anyway. So Everton will get some money coming back in. So they may well have the money to open up a few positions here.
Well, there's over 30 million of potential transfer fees to be made off 3 players. Only one of which really is, a first team regular.
Yeah.
If Tom Cannon, personally, I think we might be better off loaning him for a year and letting his value potentially double. But, if you've got 7-8 million on the table for a player who is 4th choice striker, at the moment, 5th choice even.
Well, yeah. And obviously,
as it stands, you have got to look at that, haven't you? So there is money to be made here for some of this deadwood, which is a nice situation to be in for a change, because we've seen too many players come into this squad who haven't been in our plans, who we can't get anything for, teams don't want. Alex Iwobi isn't deadwood. Damari Gray isn't necessarily deadwood in terms of ability.
I think he is now.
But we've got players ahead of him now, haven't we? We've bought new players. He's down the pecking order. Yeah,
absolutely. It is. It's a dead interesting one. There will be people who will be devastated if Iwobi goes, just because they know what he does bring, and there'll be people who are saying sell him, get rid of him. And I guess that the only thing we should be really discussing is if it frees up, he's not going to stay, so therefore he's on a good wage as it is. That's big saving off the wage bill and pot of money in, which frees you up to go and do. Everton want 3 players before tomorrow. They want a defender, a midfield player and a wide player. Can they get 3 in? It's debatable, isn't it? But it happens. Other clubs can do it. And if the Everton have got loose agreements for some of these players, then it's easier to do. Maxwell Cornet's been mentioned again today. He wouldn't be someone. I think he's a decent footballer. Injuries.
He's had a rough year, hasn't he?
So that's kind of made me go. But I'd have him if he was coming in at left back. But I think there's better options.
We need a right winger.
There's better options at right wing that we can go and get. Obviously, centre back. Elvedi's been mentioned. 5 or 6 million wouldn't be a too big a deal, really, to get over the line. But if Iwobi's going out, it's where's the creation? Now, what are we saying? Well, Iwobi will go out and we'll go with a more abrasive 3 in midfield. Is that where we are? And we'll look for wide areas and the striker to get the goals. Now, okay, we've got to find a way that works. Then that can't be just do what we did last night, which is knock it long and a winger can run in behind. You've got to get in behind by drawing teams out and threading them through 3 patterns of play. So you just wonder about that. Alzate at Brighton was mentioned. What do you think about him?
Yeah, he's a typical Brighton player, isn't he? He's decent on the ball. I wouldn't say he's massively dissimilar to James Garner. But, he's another body in midfield who's, he's looking at the other end of the pitch, isn't he, going forwards. That's probably more his game than Idrissa Gana-Gueye, for example.
Is there anyone who you think Everton, if Iwobi did go, who you think Everton could potentially go after centrally? Who they could get who'd make a difference?
No, I've struggled to think of names, to be honest. I liked the look of Gus Hamer at Coventry, but he's went to Sheffield United. I thought he would have been a good signing, but at the point he was moving, midfield wasn't a priority for Everton, so, they missed the boat on that one. I think they'd have to find a name that surprises us, especially when we haven't been linked with an extensive list of midfield players because we haven't been expecting to need to buy one. It wouldn't shock me if Everton make a low financial risk move like Alzate on loan and then invest the money into wide areas.
Yeah, it could be.
Especially when you look at the current makeup of this Everton team. If we're going to keep playing the way we have lined up recently, which is more like a 4-4-1-1 almost, and have someone playing off the striker, whether that's Danjuma or Decore, maybe even Maupay from what we seen last night.
Maupay, our new number 10.
That almost rules out a position for Iwobi anyway. It shouldn't when you look at his ability, but then in that makeup of that team, he doesn't really fit into any of those roles. He played on the first day of the season, but it was out wide. Now we've got McNeil's coming back, Harrison's coming back, hopefully bringing someone else in as well. Again, Danjuma can potentially play there.
Yeah.
It leaves less and less positions for Iwobi to fill in. Do we need an Alex Iwobi type player in this team, or can just setting up right with the right players naturally create more chances? Now, I don't want it to be a situation where Lukaku left and we said we'll share the goals around. We'll share the chance creation around, but it does almost need to be that. If we are going to carry on with this same formation, same setup.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Carl Byron says Iwobi's head's been elsewhere for a while since he refused his new contract and his performances have dropped. There's also, of course, let's just say it, there's Dele, who the manager's name check today as getting closer to being fit again. We've said it a million times. It could be something or nothing, this. If Dele gets back to 60-70% of what he was at Spurs, he'd be a very useful player for Everton in that role. Just off the 2 people, some can break into the box, better on the ball than Decore. Doesn't cover the same ground as Decore, granted, but he's only going to get a chance if he's fit and if the manager thinks that he can offer something, isn't he?
Well, they're going to have to be certain on Dele. We spoke about this loads over the last few months, but Dele, for what we know him as, in the peak of his ability, he's almost perfect for that role that we've seen Decore playing, the midfield and making late runs into the box, a goal threat. Better on the ball, doesn't give you as much in terms of dropping back, but we haven't seen Decore doing that as recent anyway, especially that Villa game, he was just playing as a striker, basically, Decore.
Yeah,
at times.
Gary Ball says howdy. Steve P says, I'm genuinely baffled me the amount of times that we just aimlessly hoofed the ball up the pitch last night. That's blatantly Dyche's tactics, because surely if they weren't, then it wouldn't be happening every game. He's obviously instructing them to do it. It was embarrassing against the League Two side. Why would you just willingly give the ball away for no reason? 9 times out of 10 it goes straight back to their players. Nobody can convince me those aren't his tactics because it's very obvious. How are we going to win games playing like that? Obviously, occasionally go long. We've seen Liverpool do it, but they weren't just hoofing it up the pitch and hoping for the best. They were drawing teams in and had runners and players with pinpoint long passing.
They're playing long diagonal passing, weren't they?
We play like it's the 90s. I honestly believe if we had a good modern manager, we'd be so much better. We're the only team I've seen that doesn't look like a team and has 0 patterns of play. And that's clearly on the manager. And his coaches, it'll be mad if we don't sign a centre-back. Last night proved if Tarkowski's to get injured, we'd be in serious trouble because those two, Keane and Godfrey means, aren't fit for purpose. This is something I've struggled with Sean Dyche, I'll be honest. With what are we trying to do as a team? It's not... I am with him in terms of get fit. I'm with him in terms of be honest, work your bollocks off, work for each other. I'm all day with that. A lot of what he says is correct when you listen to him, but that style is it. And I don't buy, I've said it before, I'm not going to keep going over old ground, but I don't buy the thing that these players aren't good players and that's it. It's nonsense, because people have been saying this for years and we've never had good. Of course we have. So that's an argument that doesn't work. It's gone. That argument's in the bin. It's in room 101. Because we played a team that's propping the league up last night, who tried to pass the ball and tried to put the ball around and then tried to mix it. They got it out to the kid who set the goal up. I forget his name, the winger, but he murked it to him and he got half a yard and put. They had a way of playing. Not one of their players would get anywhere near Everton's side. Not one of them.
Naturally.
Not one of them could play in the Premier League. And yet they were players who passed the ball around and moved through patterns of play. So when people try to tell you that it can't be done because of these players, it's nonsense. Because they're showing
it can't be.
What are we trying to do?
Yeah, it can't be done to a Man City level, can it? But,
no, of course not.
Doncaster have shown it can be done to a level. You know, you can mix up your patterns of play. You can have moves that have clearly been worked on between players on the pitch relationships.
Yeah.
That's what it lacked last night. And now I understand in some games in the Premier League we are going to have to go completely back to basics.
Got to
hit and hope, you know, meat and potato style football. But last night was a game where our quality, you know, tens of millions of pounds worth of players allegedly on the pitch last night.
Our most expensive ever back four it was last night. In the first half, that got destroyed, by the way. But carry on.
Yeah, so, you know, there should be enough quality and know-how and understanding of high-level football in these players to control a game, to dominate a game, to move the ball quickly, know where their teammates are going to be moving to so they can make these passes quick. Go, move. There was none of that last night, especially before Idrissa Garner came on the pitch and really settled things down for us. And Iwobi, going back to him, he is one of those players who you think he can maybe do that. You know, he sometimes does have his next move planned before he receives the ball. You think, right, I'm going to turn here, and left back's going to make an overlap and run, and I'll spray it out wide. But those are quite basic things as well, and there's no reason why Amadou Onana, for example, can't do those sort of things, have his next pass in mind, play that long ball. There's enough players in this team who are good enough to do those jobs. It's no one's speciality, of course, but Premier League footballers should be able to do those sort of things, and it comes back to the player, obviously, but it comes back to coaching as well.
I just find it straight. Like I said to you, I think, and I've said it before, the manager seems like he's stuck in between at the moment. He's trying to change what he did at Burnley a bit to try and it seems like we're stuck between two styles where he might just be better doing what he's good at. And if it is banging it long, then okay, let's pick the second balls up then. You know, if we're going to go back to that, if that's what it is, then let's do it. But because if he's, like Steve said, if it's not the plan, surely you'd be bollocking them for just giving the ball away. Because we do it in a way where we've shown at times, and we did this particularly in the second half, when we started passing it, we cut through them dead easy. So it was like, well, why wasn't that minute one? That should be the tactic every game. You still should have runners. Your structure still should be correct. Your fullback should be high. This is just basic stuff, and yet we don't work. It doesn't seem anyway like we work on patterns of play. We've been talking about Alex Iwobi and a creative midfield play, and we can discuss that all day. But we talked yesterday about how other teams have had 3 abrasive midfield players, but the creativity and the attacking invention comes from everybody else around it, and then 3 are there to put fires out. Maybe one joins in and the others make sure you never get caught on the hop, so to speak. We don't even look like that. We just seem a bit in between. Do you think do you think he has got to nail that down and be like, you are a holding midfielder, so sit there, you go and chase the ball, fullbacks go on? And also, the second part of the question is, do you think it's worse because we haven't got Dwight McNeil and Jack Harrison available to us?
Well, it's definitely not helped, has it? Because, missing both of them has made James Garner sort of an auxiliary right winger.
Yeah.
And that has killed our right-sided movements. Both, Garner's not a right winger, and it's not helped Patterson either, because he doesn't have a player with a defined role that he understands in front of him.
Yeah,
so that's hurt him as well. In terms of midfielders, I do think they do need defined roles in how they play, because too often we'll see a different one will go and press, and a different one sits.
Or sometimes no one sits, and that's the bigger issue.
It's clearer instructions for those midfield players. But then again, it does go back to our creativity from our fullback positions, because that's a position where a lot of teams in this league get a lot of their chance creation, their top assisters, always putting crosses into the box. We don't have that. We're missing that. We're not at a disadvantage immediately, but we've got one less tool in the toolbox, haven't we?
I think we are at a disadvantage though, Jack, because I think you're absolutely right. I think I like Nathan I think Nathan Patterson has got the tools to be a good Premier League fullback. I think he's good stature. He's not. I think he can move. He can run, the kid. I think he likes to tackle. His numbers on Saturday against Wolves proved that. We won 100% of his tackle. I think it's 6th with the most, or so, it was up there. His final ball's atrocious. Said this even before yesterday. And last night, I don't know whether it was because he had Dobbin in front of him, but he looked like he didn't want to go beyond him. And yet, when James Garner moved there in the second half, he showed you everything you need to be in that position. He was knocking it and going after it. He was bombing on. He was putting balls into the box. And that, I think Patterson said this on either the aftermatch or the 3 talking point thing. He's got to be careful here that James Garner doesn't take his position. They're both the same age. It's one thing losing out to 34-year-old Seamus Coleman because he's experienced, but it's another losing out to a centre midfield player. I'd be looking and going, what did he do well? So he got down the line, he knocked it and went, he put balls in. I'd be every day, if I was Patterson, every day after training, 20, 25 minutes, ask someone to stay, put crosses in, the area you've got to work on. I think defensively, it will improve once he's got a partner in front of him. But I think James Garner's given the manager something to think about. I don't think he's given him anything to think about centrally last night. I thought he was really poor.
Wasn't a good audition for him.
He was shocking. Against the team, he should have been able to dictate the game. But then again, he was joined by Decore. He was poor last night. But I think when he went to right back, he looked very comfortable and very good. I'd be worried if I was Patterson.
Yeah, I think
Garner... But we're getting nothing, sorry. Yeah. My point was, Garner showed you what you can get. On the other side, we didn't have any of that. We had none of that. Ashley Young gave us a bit when he come on. Mikalenko gave us nothing there, did he?
Yeah, I think Garner needs to be careful he doesn't get permanently cast as a right back either. I'm sure he'd take it if it's a permanent spot in the team, don't get me wrong, but his position's a midfielder. He wants to be a midfielder.
Yeah.
He's having all his best Everton performances at right back, isn't he?
Yeah,
it's Ben Godfrey at left back all over again.
Poor
but
Ben.
Hopefully James Garner doesn't tail off as bad as Ben Godfrey has since those handful of left-back appearances a few years ago, because he was really poor last night. But yeah, Patterson's one that really needs to develop his creativity, and look, he's a young lad, so he should be able to improve.
Do you think we have got to... Because Mikalenko's come back and got injured again last night, and we don't know how. He didn't look good, as in he looked like his hamstring had gone, but I don't know whether it is, and it's early days, and the manager didn't know. Today he just said he'll see how it settles down. I imagine he's out to Saturday anyway. Ashley Young very much brought in as a utility player, and was he brought in as cover? Should we be asking a 38-year-old to be number one choice in a Premier League where you've got to run up and down a pitch every week? I don't know. And Young is good because he can fill in different areas, so no problem with that. the left back, not having a naturally attacking left-footed left back is hurting us, isn't it?
That's what I mean when they say disadvantages. You know, you can get by without attacking creative fullbacks, but to not have the option of having them, it's one less thing, because quite often in the Premier League, teams will rely on those players to be their sources of creativity.
Yeah.
Some games, just stay back, just make it, you know, a flat back four, be solid. And that's fine, and, you know, having players you can do, that's good, but you need the option, at least, of going the other end. We've got a sort of right back in James Garner who can potentially be that for us. But there'll be games when he's needed in midfield and can't play at right back. Yeah. We don't have any option of that sort of left back. I like Ashley Young. He's not had the best start to his Everton career, but I do think he'll do well in Everton shirt. But again, like you say, 38 years old, he can't be sprinting up and down the touchline all game. It's not possible for him. Michalenko's poor going forward. He's very poor at it. He's out anyway, so he's a non-factor at the moment. But for, you know, a 20 million left back, he's poor at that side of his game.
It's disappointing, isn't it? Disappointing. Chris says, afternoon fellas, Beto has a bit of big dunk and Kevin Campbell in him, do you think? Hey, listen, he knocked them about, didn't he? He knocked them about a bit. Like, no, listen, again, just a caveat, it was Doncaster, and without being disrespectful to them, they are.
It's a different level,
it's a different level, but he come on and done exactly what you want someone to do. It's like,
absolutely.
I'm taking this game by the scruff of the neck, I'm knocking you about, and I want it, and he's hungry to go for it, and he's like a training one where he knocked the lad about 30 foot in the air, just run into him.
Yeah, he moves fast for a big man, doesn't he? He moves with purpose as well. He could have had a hat-trick.
He could have, yeah.
Better with the head of it at the post, and then was it Guay was running through and could have slid it.
He should have. Well, he eventually did, and he scored. But if he'd have passed it early, he'd have scored anyway because he was in on the keeper, or he'd have had the chance, wouldn't he? But yeah, let's see. KKMB says, I think Young would be better than a back five. Well, a wing back, yeah, because he could be higher up the pitch. Everton have never been able to play wing backs, though.
No, we've never really
done it. And the other thing is, because we're getting so many wingers, it wouldn't really work now for us, would it? Because you'd have to, your wing back would become, say, like Jack Harrison on one side, and then either Patterson or Garner on the other. And then, so where are the other three wingers going then? Are they sitting on the bench? Or I just don't see it, but you never know. I mean, it's something you could maybe try. Yeah?
That sort of setup works when your wing backs will become your wingers. They have to be comfortable going forward, and your wingers will become forwards. Almost the type of winger we're signing, we already have in the team of McNeil as well. They're not necessarily wide forwards as such. And again, back to the wing backs, they won't be comfortable playing as wingers other than Ashley Young.
Absolutely, mate. Everton Viking says, don't mind us getting Cornet, but I'd rather use him as a left back. I don't think he should be the only wide player brought in if we sell Iwobi and Gray. Go and get a young player with a big ceiling, please. Absolutely.
Put it this way with Cornet, no problem if we sign him, but if we sign Cornet, we still need 3 players.
Yeah. I mean, you'd imagine him at left back, then you'd go, he can get forward and put deliveries in now, and he's fast as well. He'd give you the different option, there's no doubt. But if Everton are going back in for Wilfred Nonso, we know that. Will Leeds let him go? I honestly don't have a clue. But Lewis Sinister is there, and like I said yesterday, he might be an easier one to get, and Leeds might weigh it up and go, well, who do we rather keep, Sinister or Nonso? And Everton, that might be how Everton can do the deal. It might not. We might end up back at Sulemana, but if they're saying 30, the problem is Everton have got, you're going to end up with a 25 to 30 million pound for all 3 of those players. And it's like, at which one are you comfortable paying 30 million for then? And I know it'll be a down payment, and I know it'll be 5 million a year or 6 million a year over the next 4 years, whatever. And Everton might do it for 3 years and then sell them. And therefore you don't, you've made it. It's like the thing with Iwobi. I've seen a headline today and it made me laugh. It was Everton prepared to take £15 million loss on Alex Iwobi. Well, A, he's never got to 35 million, and B, we've had the lad for 4 years. So I don't think that the man who's just walked in and would know is John Blaine, but I don't see how you would look at that as a loss, because even if Everton have paid 6 million a year, say, for 4 years to get it to 7 million a year, say. So say Everton have paid £7 million. We've had them for 4 seasons. So we've paid 28 million. And if Everton got 20 million back for him, having him for 4 years, we'd only have another £7 million payment, say. So we haven't really lost. We've had a fella for 4 years and he's played a lot of games and we're still bringing in, say after the next payment, you're still bringing 10 million in. That isn't really a loss to me. That's just, he's been here, we've covered it, we've got a bit of money back, he's off the wage bill, and that goes on the next player. I don't think you can look at it and go, that's a lot. I know mentally you go, well, you bought him for 30 million and you sold him for 20, you've lost 10 million on him, but he's 28 or 27 rather, and time moves on, doesn't it?
Yeah, even if you are purely just looking at transfer fees and you look at it in a very black and white manner and go, oh, this was a 28 million player and you've got 20 million for him, you do need to factor in about, we got 4 years of him doing the thing we bought him for, which is playing in the team.
Yeah,
so
I think that's to me. What's that, John? Sorry. FFP. And for
massive profit on it.
And a big profit on FFP, John's saying. So we have to look at it like that. Again, I hate, this is the side of football I hate now, is that we all, even my 12-year-old now is going, oh, what if we've got to offset this? No, when I was 12, I was just thinking about how many goals we were going to score, how many games we were going to win. I wasn't thinking, can we get that money and offset it against this player? And if we bring him in, can we amortise this contract? It's nonsense, but it's where we are, isn't it? It's frustrating, but it's where we are.
It's what dominates the game now, isn't it?
And
so you don't want to be speaking to your son after a win and your son's still a bit upset. And you're like, what's the matter? Somebody won, and he's like, the accounts, Dad.
Yeah,
the accounts.
Exactly. That amortisation of that contract, burning me head out. That you've just got to go. It's where we are now. It's frustrating. We all want the pot of gold, as Sean would say, don't we? And doing whatever we want, but it isn't there. So we do have to look at things like this. We have to break stuff down and go. But I just, like I say, Everton might end up getting into a situation where one of the 3 wingers we want is a £30 million player, because Sinister is the oldest out of them. Obviously, it's 24, but Nonso's 19, 20. Suleimana's 21. Which one are you comfortable paying £30 million for? That's one it might be. Obviously, again, like we've just said, down payments, amortisation, whatever. But that might be the decision Everton have to make, and that obviously rolls once Iwobi and maybe Tom Cannon go out the door, and maybe Damari Gray.
Yeah, and you've got to look at who's the biggest guarantee at the moment out of these players, and then also look at, potential of that player. What does that player potentially grow into over his 5-year deal at Everton? How much would he go for in the future if, it didn't work and we wanted to shift him on? Or if it did work and he improves as a player, what's his potential value? 4 years' time, does his value double?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. We still need 3 in. Let's just leave it at that. Tom says, can you imagine a front 2 of Dom and Beto in Ralph Hasenhüttl's high pressing 4-2-2-2 system? Just saying.
I don't mind what he's suggesting there.
Listen, Sean Dyche is our manager, so you can look and go, oh, imagine Potter, or imagine Hasenhüttl, or imagine whoever, Nagelsmann, or any other name you can pluck out the sky. Sean Dyche is the manager, isn't he? And we have to start winning football matches. Otherwise, Sean Dyche won't be the Everton manager for much longer. But these players have got to start doing stuff as well. And having options is great. That's what I would say. And that's why we keep focusing. We keep circling back to tomorrow night at 11 o'clock. There's going to be a lot of movement. And Everton is going to be a busy place, because we've seen Jean-Philippe Gbamin link with Cadiz today. That's irrelevant there. He's going out the door, means Everton save on wages, and he's gone. That's goodbye, off you pop. Cheerio, see you later. Then you've got Andre Gomez, who I expect to lead the football club in the next 24 hours. Neil Maupay, be very surprised if he's an Everton player when the window slams shut tomorrow night. Damari Gray, slightly different, but the manager said today there's 2 or 3 circling around him. Tom Cannon, Alex Iwobi. Already you're talking 5 or 6 players there, and if they go and Everton still want players and bring 3 in, and then them lot are out the door, you turn around and go, you know what, recruitment team done well this, they've done well this. And I've already said, I've been critical of just who in the last year of who our targets have been, but they've done well this summer. They haven't had money and they've made it stretch, and obviously the kid the latest addition made a huge difference last night when he came on. Evan Viking says Beto's absolutely rapid and will bully a lot of centre-backs.
Yeah, he is fast for a big man, isn't he? Seen someone say last night that he was the fastest player in Italy. And I don't know if that's maybe the highest bar Italian football, but, you know, still.
Is that the same polo that give Umar Nias the player of the year in Russia? Has it been clarified? Has that been certified?
I don't know if this wasn't even statistically backed up. It was just someone's opinion.
Saying, oh, well, there you go. I mean, you know, that. Hey, listen, it's as good as anything else, I guess. Rob Keys says it's hard to believe Michael Keane didn't make the England squad.
Yeah, honestly, I think it must have been an oversight on Southgate's
Well, if
behalf.
Henderson's in there and others who don't play.
Or, you know, maybe Keane's told him he doesn't want to be in it. He'll just wait for the
concentrate on it. Yeah. Derek says, not convinced we should sell Iwobi. We have, with the core in our midfield, Iwobi has to play there when we have healthy wingers. The lad wants to go, I think, Derek. I think that's the big thing. He won't sign. He wants to go. I think it's, when that happens, you've got to take the money, haven't you?
Yeah, I'd like Iwobi to stay at Everton, but if he's going to be, goes back to what you said before, if he's going to be gone in a year's time anyway, 15, 20 million.
We can't pass it up, mate. Tom says, Cornet on loan to play left back, I'd be sound with, but I'm hoping he isn't the winger we bring in. It has to be one of Nonso, Sinisterra, Bakayoko or Sulemana. It's got to be one of them four. Mark says Jack Harrison replaces him easily. Well, that's in a wide area, isn't it? Yeah. Bob says, with Iwobi declaring his intentions to leave the club during the transfer window, who'd you like to replace him? It's been widely reported that Luis Sinisterra has a relegation clause in his contract, and we've been after Wilfred Nonso since they went down. Or is there someone else? Ibrahima Sangari. Well, Sangari's centre midfield player, isn't he? I'd love Sangari. I've wanted Sangari for years, but he doesn't replace Iwobi. My Leeds mate saying Sinisterra would be a much greater loss than Nonso, but is a bit DCL, i.e. repeated injuries. Personally, it's sad we are shopping in Poundland for players, but beggars can't be choosers. Yeah.
I think you can get some good stuff in Poundland, though, can't you?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, you know, like you said, we've made our money count as well. I don't think we've signed a bad player this window as such, you know, touch wood.
Yeah.
But, you know, the quality of player, they all seem to come in and go, okay, well, they improved the team.
That's all you can do, isn't it?
Yeah, it's less about the quality of player we're bringing in, but it's how limited you are in, you know, the scope of players is reduced.
A lot of players out there, Jack. A lot of players. Lind says our midfield is slow, zero movement. Iwobi expects fellow professionals to move into space and receive the ball. That's where his numbers are good. End product isn't there, but that's because of what's around him. Okay, it's one way of looking at it, definitely. Mark says get Calvin Phillips on loan, an upgrade in the core and either a left back or a centre back, but think we've left it too late to spend the money. Operation Goodison meltdown commence. I don't think there is the meltdown. I think people are a lot calmer after the Beto signing, because people knew we needed the centre forward.
I think if the window was to end now, this minute, it wouldn't be a failure of a transfer window with what we have brought in. You know, like you say, we do need more players for the ideal perfect transfer window, but we've got the key target, which is a striker. We've got a winger in, we've got another forward in Dan
Juma. Two wingers, isn't it? Yeah. Really, if you include Dan Juma there.
A young forward striker as well. A better left back than what we've had recently, even if the signing itself has its own flaws with Ashley Young's age, and it's a short-term deal. You know, we have improved the squad in the key areas. It's just we could ideally do with more.
We desperately need a creative play like Iwobi, says Everton. Viking. Joe Max says Rennie, Noni, Maduki could become available on loan. Like, yeah, go and test the water with Chelsea. Not gonna. I know he scored last night in the cup penalty, didn't he? But they're not going to play him, are they, regularly? Not so Purpleachi, great name. Says Beto 14 might become a cult hero. Can you name our last 5 14s though? It's been like Tosin, Nias, Naismith. There's 3 off the top of my head.
Who had it before Naismith? Anna Chaby?
No, it wasn't 14.
Naismith signed in 12, 13.
12, yeah.
So before that, we had Strachwalesi, possibly?
No, Strach wasn't 14, was he?
And trying to think of forwards we had before Naismith.
We've named 3. Come on, got a show to do. Stewie says, is there a version of Sean Dyche's Everton where Dele plays a pivotal role? When he comes for Iwobi, Cannon and Gray, could remove the financial pressure, allowing Dele to just play.
Yeah.
There is a version, but the lad's got to be fit, hasn't he?
Again,
the lad has got to be fit.
It comes back to, will he be worth the financial if we get this money, and do we know for certain Dele's worth putting that money on? And it goes back to the stuff we don't know. How is he on the training ground? How is he mentally?
Well, what they'll have is the window's shut. He's not going anywhere, is he? The window will close without him leaving. He'll get fit. He's played 13, so theoretically Everton can play him in 6 games before they have to make a decision, before they have to pay 10 million. It's up to him, isn't it? If he's fit in mid-September and we've still got a few injuries and he's looking sharp on the training ground, the manager might throw him in, and if he clicks and looks decent, then he might go, you know what, he's worth 10 million. We'll pay the 10 million. I don't know when the next kicker is. If the next kicker was 20 games before 10 million, then they might go, he's worth 10 million for, I've said this before, so take for 25 games before we have to think about paying it again for his contract's up. So that might be what they do. Who knows? Rob says, my view on Iwobi is the first 2 years for Everton, he was a really poor signing. He became our most creative player after everyone half decent left. His best games for Everton have all been in the last 2 seasons, which were the worst in our history. Naturally stood out. 20 million with 10 months left is huge. It's that or give him a new deal on a higher wage. He's not worth it. Doesn't want to stay. I think he wants to go back to London anyway. So Mark says, it's all very well asking how many times did Iwobi's creation stats end in goals, but we've been playing without a decent centre forward for much of this time. Truth is, he will be missed for his creativity, pace, energy and tracking back. On the flip side, if we can replace him with someone who will create and score more goals, we could be better off. But either way, we cannot afford to lose him for nothing in 10 months. Max says, yesterday Gabama would have got into our midfield. Jonathan Richards says, Emilio Martinez buy or Anelo Martinez buy, Smith Rowe loan and Suleiman and Elf. I don't think that's happening, mate. We have watched Emiliano Martinez a few times, though. I mean, it's 7 million that they want for him. Something like that.
I mean, the Villa keeper Emiliano
Martinez? No. Only plays for... is he at Bromby? Is that one of them? Or is it's not Midtjylland? Or is it Midtjylland? Could be Midtjylland he plays for. We've looked at him before. I think 7 or 8. I think Brentford are looking at him, so therefore that should tell you, quick, go and get him before they get him. Smith Rowe, I don't think Arsenal, they're not going to loan him out, I don't think, are they?
No, I think they'd still like Smith Rowe to be a big part of that squad. His injuries have made that difficult for Smith Rowe, but he's not involved because Arsenal don't rate him, put it that way.
We missed Andros Townsend off the 14s, and he was our one. What about Calvin Phillips on loan? Yeah, Smith Rowe is available on loan. I saw Arsenal saying he wasn't. You might be right, I'm just saying. Richie says, don't you think we desperately need to put a fullback in? We have the worst collection of right and left backs in the league. I don't get that. Certainly not the right. The left-hand side, yeah, maybe we need more. Coco Pop says a good 11 would be Pickford, Garner, Branthwaite, Tarkowski, Young, Garner, Onana, Dele, Danjuma, Beto, Harrison. Fair play. Bill says, I'm thinking we need a midfielder as well as a winger and a centre-back. Do you think we buy a winger and then use our loan slots to the other? We're also weak at left-back. It's what you can get, isn't it?
We've got 2 loan slots left, haven't we? And say we could get a centre-back on loan who's also full-back cover. That's maybe
Tanganga can do that.
Tanganga could be ideal for that.
Jay says, is the argument for trying Mopai in the 10 role? No. Chris says, I don't think if anyone noticed this, but Pickford tried to change it up by playing it out from the back. Looked like Dyche had to go at him. It turned into a shot on goal very quickly. It kind of undermines his point of long ball. If not doing it was more effective. Him and Michael Keane made a good mess of that, trying to pass it out, didn't he? Keane smashing it back to him and Pickford touching it like the worst first touch ever. Jay says, can we go into the rest of the season with Keane and Godfrey as our backup centre-backs? We'd be one injury away from a crisis.
Yeah, I really don't trust either of them, to be honest, in this team. I don't see an Everton future for either of them. And I know your backup centre-backs aren't the players you put a lot of emphasis on moving on. They're not the ones you always have to move on first, but I really don't trust either of them. I really don't. Last night, summed them both up perfectly for me. Keane looked a bag of nerves. Godfrey looked like he didn't really know how to play football.
Just looked very rusty, didn't he, Godfrey? He was all over the place, wasn't he? Oh, no, the Blues, you're right, that first minute was just embarrassing, wasn't it? We just looked like we'd never played a game of football before. Especially, I don't know what they would... when you're knocking it around from the back, watch teams who do it, they're comfortable where they do it, the confidence. We seem to do it for the sake of it. And Michael Keane's, he hit it, not towards where Pickford was anyway, without looking. Just blind pass. And then Pickford's first touch was shocking.
He passes it to Pickford's right foot.
And
all he does pass it to his left foot. He hits it first time.
Yeah, it's just...
Basic things like that. It's so amateur.
Does my head in. It does my head in because they're not doing it with any way of playing out though, with any thought. We'll knock it in and we'll draw them in, and then the midfield will drop, we give it in, we'll make an angle. It's none of that. It's just we look like we know what we're doing. It
goes right back to there's no understanding between these players of what everyone's going to do next. How does this player want to receive the ball? What's he going to do? It goes back to that.
It's mad. Evan Viking says, last couple, there's no tactics with them. Set pieces offensively and defensively are terrible. There's no patterns of play. Everything's off the cuff or hitting it long. Where's teams play better than us? He's been here for long enough, but he can't get the basics down. I don't think it's ever going to truly work with him. He doesn't have a clue. Even the training videos make it look like Sunday League. Granted, it's a small sample size, but I look at us on the pitch every week. Soon we'll have better players fit, but it isn't going to change the patterns of play and the tactics. I'm no big Potter fan, but people say Everton players can't play that way. Then I look at when Potter was managing Swansea, he got bang average players playing good football. Other managers can do it too. It needs to be in stages. This manager will be gone by this time next year anyway.
Well, just on Graham Potter, not advocating for or against him as Everton manager, but if you look at that Brighton team as well, he walked into that wasn't a technically gifted squad.
No,
he developed players. Lewis Dunk really took to it and developed, but that comes through coaching. It comes through the player as well, being open-minded to it, putting the work in. But you can't change a player's game.
That's mad. Maxwell Cornet can play there if you go for him, says Jay Beard. When are you letting Pep back, says Jay. He's doing something with BT, I think, in the other room, so otherwise he'd have been on here. He'll be on the final word. Everton Viking says, think Young is an okay squad signing, but I will ask, he isn't very good defensively. He can't get up and down. So often he doesn't get forward. So what's the use of him? Would never really suggest this, and probably wouldn't myself, but I'll ask you, if Dean is offered to us for 5 or 8 million, are you saying yes or no?
Dean improves the team and gives us something that we're missing, doesn't he? It'd be a bit weird going back cap in hands, but...
He didn't want to go, though, don't forget. He was devastated. Put a big thing out about how Benitez had, ruined the club that he loved and ruined his relationship. He said, you won't even be here and you've ruined my relationship with this club.
That was before he got a Lucozade bottle pelted at him, knowing.
But it touched his head and he reacted like it's hit. He should have just got up and gone. Stood there like cancer now.
Should have just picked it up and drank it. You did that in the Champions League a few years ago. Di Maria. Threw a bottle of beer at and he just caught it and had a swig.
Really, what he should have done was just jog back to the halfway line. It was his first game back at Goodison and they scored. He shouldn't have been celebrating, really. He should have done the owl, shouldn't he?
Yeah, but he didn't even score. He just put the cross in, didn't he?
He puts up the corner and the smallest player on the pitch headed it in.
Classic Everton.
Yeah, Garrett says, mad how one player's performance against Doncaster can improve my outlook for the season. No goals, no points and no tactical plan, but Beto was winning the Golden Boot.
Yeah, we've got a big man up front, haven't we?
Yeah, mate, he's won the Ballon d'Or, let's just accept it now.
KFC Cantona.
Let's do it. Gaz says, if we can get the right winger in and everyone's fit, we could have Garner, Iwobi, Dom, Harrison. Iwobi won't be here, mate. Chimitty, McNeil, Young and Godfrey as our outfield bench players. definite improvement depth-wise, but we still have 2 goalies. Yeah, of course we will. David Gilbert says, Ebril, Grant, Weir, Jeffers, Talcaban, Vaughan, McFadden, Naismith, Niash, Balassi, Tosin, Townsend, Beto. There you go.
Wikipedia's a hell of a website.
Oh, it's tremendous. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Right, we're going to do the final word. So, yeah, look out for that one. It should be good. Thank you to everyone. We're back tomorrow. We'll be going right the way through till midnight tomorrow night, hoping Everton can be very busy with ins, making it an exciting deadline day. And God knows we need some reinforcements in just to balance the squad out. But thanks everyone for joining us. If you are a Toffee TV Premium member, obviously we will be live on the final word, so we'll see you then. Take it easy. Bye.